if China is selling dual-use products to Iran, especially ones that can be used in missiles, then we should definitely condemn them. I'm not 100% convinced that they're actually sending military use weapons or precursors to the Iranians, or at least if the Chinese government is doing so. And the real reason, we have to remember that China actually enjoys really good relations with Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Actually, China does $109 billion a year of trade with the Saudis, about $103 billion of trade with the UAE, and only about $10 billion officially with Iran. Probably about $35 billion if you include gray market oil. So I think China, is it plausible that they're helping Iran on intelligence? Yes. Do I think that they're selling actual missile precursors? I think that's a little bit harder to believe, because that would be arming Iran to attack their even closer allies in some ways, the Saudis and the Iranians. But if they are doing it, we should definitely condemn them.
Yeah, and I'm eager to get into what form that condemnation should take, but I share kind of your view of rational analysis here. But at the same time, Shaun, what if the incentive for China is just to keep the United States bogged down in another Middle East regime change war? What if it's worth it to China to support Iran's bombing of their other trade allies because it gives them such an advantage when the United States is, spilling blood and treasure all over yet another Middle Eastern empire?
That's a very strategic and great question, Matt. I think on the first half, China has clearly been the big winner of the war the last 5-6 weeks. You've seen just last week that the heads of Spain, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, as well as the new head of Vietnam, all visited Xi Jinping. So it's very clear that a lot of countries around the world are moving closer politically to China because it's viewed as the mature, stable trading partner. At the end of the day, most countries are not as ideologically driven about pro-democracy as the United States, and they're more about economic growth to get food on the table for their citizens. But here's the thing, Matt, when you look at the numbers from March, China's starting to get hit economically. So exports were 20.2% in January and February, but they only rose 2.5% in March. Retail sales went up 2.5% in Q1, but they only rose up 1.7% in March. And also factory gate prices in March went up about 1.5%. This is the first time in 48 months that China's had inflation on factory gate prices. So you're starting to see that the military tension in Iran is starting to impact China's economy, and very worrisome. 5 weeks ago when we started, youth unemployment in China was about 14%. That number has gone up to 16.9%. So I think China wants to end the war soon. It doesn't behoove them politically to allow this to go on, because economically they're going to start facing some serious problems.
Well, yeah, but the stuff that was being sent, I mean, this was the precursor material for ballistic missiles. What else do you think that shipment was for, if not Iran's ballistic missile program? Like, tell me it's fertilizer or something else, but it doesn't look like that. It literally looks like they're doing the irrational thing, unless the entire goal is to keep the United States further entangled.
So if it is weapons ballistic, then we should condemn them. Again, I'm American. I'm a red-blooded America. I love the United States. If the Chinese are selling dual-use products, especially like weapon missile precursors to the Iranians, we should condemn them. Again, I find it hard to believe they would do that. I think it's much more likely that they would send military intelligence to the Iranians. Now, here's the problem, though, Matt. We don't have that much leverage over China anymore. We have increased the tariffs on China far too much in the past. We've also increased the export sanctions too much on the Chinese in the past. So the problem is we've put out all of our cards over the last 5 years, and there isn't as much leverage against China as we might have had if we had kept some of those aces in our pockets. That's one of the issues and why I've been critical of Biden and to some extent Trump, but especially Biden over the last 5 years.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.